DICE has finally fixed Battlefield 2042's crashing issues. A Call of Duty player took his complaints a little bit too far. Halo Infinite is finally doing what players want, and much more on Today in Gaming. Hey guys, Level Cap here. DICE fixed the crashing issue plaguing Battlefield 2042 since the 2.2 update launched. They released a backend fix early this week that remedied whatever was causing the crashes. Further testing by players has confirmed the update was effective. Devs at the studio had been tracking the issue before the 2.2 update, so it was probably unrelated to the actual update itself. Either way, it's good to see the situation resolved, as many players, myself included, were massively affected by the crashing. Data mining has also revealed that motorcycles are coming to the Portal mode. Temporeal found new references to Battlefield 3 and 1942 era motorcycles in 2042's latest update. You can probably expect to see these added in the game's next seasonal update. EU regulators are moving into phase 2 of their Activision Blizzard Xbox acquisition investigation. They released a preliminary report about the deal that seemed pretty favorable for Xbox, but it had some key points they wanted addressed, which Xbox declined to do. It's unclear what the second phase of the investigation aims to clarify. The deal is currently under review in the US, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and South Korea. It's also been approved in Brazil and Saudi Arabia. Xbox head Phil Spencer is confident the deal will be approved globally. A Call of Duty player showed up at one of the developers' offices in Office, Texas, demanding to get his ban reversed. The player posted his story on Reddit, in that he claimed he was stopped by a security guard in the parking lot who relayed his request to staff at the studio. He was told to wait for customer support to review his case and that he wouldn't be allowed into the building. The player's actions have drawn widespread scrutiny from the game's community of players and developers in the industry. Ubisoft had to evacuate their offices due to a bomb threat recently, and developers routinely get death threats from disgruntled players. So a player showing up at the studio's front door is a bit concerning, even if they have no ill intent. It's certainly frustrating that bans and appeals are seemingly devoid of human oversight these days. The player in question alleges that he was falsely banned from one account and subsequently banned from a second after spreading a total of $140 over 2 copies of Modern Warfare 2. Now, 9 times out of 10, these stories end up just being a cheater trying to drum up false sympathy to get their accounts unbanned through public pressure on the developers. But it's a tactic that rarely works and only makes it hard for legitimately innocent players to actually get their false bans reversed. Regardless though, if you do get mistakenly banned from a game, do not show up at the developer studio demanding for help. It's gonna freak them out and probably cause a security concern. For Modern Warfare 2 players that haven't been banned, the game's latest update went live today and fixes some major map exploits like out-of-bounds bugs and being able to shoot through walls. Nvidia also released a driver hotfix that should resolve flicker in-game. Infinity Ward announced ranked mode will launch in 2023. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is probably launching in March. It's the sequel to Fallen Order. EA haven't announced an official launch date yet, but they revealed that a major IP is launching before the end of March next year. EA have already let the cat out of the bag on their other major IPs like Need for Speed and Dead Space, so it seems very likely that Survivor is launching early next year. This speculative date also aligns with leaks and rumors surrounding the game stemming from a PlayStation database leak that revealed several new games before their official reveals. Halo Infinite is finally getting the changes it needs to satisfy players. The game's winter update is launching on November 8th, replacing the game's challenge-based progression with an XP-based one. This is a massive change players have been demanding since launch. The winter update is also making balance changes to several weapons. The Plasma Pistol, Disruptor, Pulse Carbine, and VK-78 Commando are all getting buffed. The BR-75 and Frag Grenade are getting some minor nerfs. Other headline features for the winter update include the introduction of campaign co-op and new multiplayer content like maps and skins. A new Deus Ex game is in very early development. Bloomberg reporter Jason Schreier broke the news on Twitter. Fans of the franchise were hopeful that a new entry would emerge from Embracer Group's acquisition of Eidos Montreal, the current developer of the modern Deus Ex games. Jason's reporting is based on insider info, so nothing has been officially announced yet. Embracer is also reportedly closing Hitman Go mobile studio Onoma. This studio was also acquired during Square's sell-off and had just finished a costly rebranding from their original name, Square Enix Montreal. They were working on an Avatar: The Last Airbender mobile title and a Stranger Things game. those projects are likely not being picked up by another studio. Sony revealed pricing and availability for their PlayStation VR 2 headset. It has an MSRP of $550, which is $50 more than the disc version of the PlayStation 5. Compatibility is limited to the PlayStation 5 and PSVR 2 titles, so your existing PSVR games won't get any upgrades or options to run on the new hardware. As for what features the new headset offers, it's got eye tracking, inside-out camera tracking, haptic feedback, a 4K HDR display, and a single cord that connects it to the console. Overall, it does sound like a solid product, but the price might make it hard to justify unless Sony has some killer VR games in the works. Sony is also shedding PlayStation Plus subscribers after its relaunch in June. It's down nearly 2 million subscribers, but the amount of PlayStation 5 players that also subscribe is much higher than it was for the PlayStation 4. So while it might not be growing, it's still more popular with players overall. God of War Ragnarok will offer at least 9 graphics modes across the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 4 Pro. PS4 players are going to be limited to 30 FPS, 1080p. PlayStation 4 Pro will offer 2 dynamic resolution modes. The performance option features an unlocked FPS, but don't expect much beyond 30 FPS. The quality option targets 30 FPS. On PlayStation 5, you'll have 6 discrete options ranging from unlocked 60 FPS performance modes to max quality 4K 30 FPS ones. The performance modes seem to support the console's high frame rate output and variable refresh rate options, so you could see better than 60 FPS performance on these modes. So far, early reviews for the game are glowing. It launches on the 9th. Before we get to the next story, I just wanted to say thanks for tuning in. While I encourage you to consider subscribing or becoming a channel member, just sticking around this deep into the video helps us out a ton as well. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of today's gaming news. The Soviet BioShock meets Fallout mashup called Atomic Heart finally has a release date. The game was announced in 2018 and launches on February 21st. The gameplay looks like a modern take on BioShock's supernatural powers, guns, and melee combat, mixed with the open world and complex interior spaces of the Fallout games. Gameplay trailers for Atomic Heart have released here and there over the years, showing a serious improvement in the game's visuals, design, animation, and performance. It's exciting to see it so close to launch. The release date trailer highlights some of the game's story elements, which the developers have kept a tight lid on. Now, if you're looking for a bit of spicy Battlefield and Call of Duty content, check out my recent video about the two franchises' perceived rivalry. It's a deeper look at the idea of one franchise potentially killing the other, and I think both Call of Duty and Battlefield players may appreciate it. As always, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.